Hello, everyone. My name is Gitika Gorthy, and today I am very, very excited to be interviewing a very special guest for this next STEM chat, Miss Karen Bradford. Miss Bradford was born in Anniston, Alabama, and recently retired as the Director of Partnerships at NASA Ames Research Center in Moffett Field, California. She was previously the Chief of Staff at NASA, where she was responsible for the coordination of tasks for the Office of the Center Director and served as a center representative and liaison for the partnerships and collaborations for the center in areas to include international, academic, scientific, and intergovernmental agencies. I am so excited to learn about Miss Bradford's journey into NASA, as well as what sparked her passion for the aerospace industry. So thank you so much, Miss Bradford, for taking your time to inspire the next generation of aerospace leaders.
Thank you, Gitika, and thank you for taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you. Yeah, to kind of kick off our conversation, could you first start off by sharing what ignited your passion for the aerospace industry? What was the aha moment where you knew that this is what I wanted to do?
I have to tell you, I have always, and I mean, I can't remember when I wasn't a fan of NASA, right? From watching the first step on the moon and on, I just thought coolest thing ever, right? However, also being a kid, always interested in science, always interested in being curious. I think the first thing that happened is I went to Space Mountain at Disney World with my parents one very,
Mhm.
very hot August summer. And it was our first trip there, and Space Mountain was just opening. The funny thing is, I didn't know it was a ride. And I don't like roller coasters. I thought it was going to be a great science exhibit and museum about space. I thought it was going to be about astronauts and all the things I could do. I drove my parents crazy for about 6 hours, begging them to take me to Space Mountain, take me to Space Mountain. Again, not knowing it was a ride. Imagine my surprise when I got there and still didn't realize it was a roller coaster. I thought they were just going to track me along and take me. So when we dropped off that first drop, I think my mother still has the imprints of my fingernails in her neck from going, ah, right, and screaming. But it was only a great example of my passion for all things space. I always want to be able to share what it is, the curiosity, the courage that it takes, right? And what we can do, not only about what we learn in space, but how we can apply that to who we are, what we are, and where we come from here on Earth. It's always been a passion.
Wow, yeah, it's so glad to hear that you share kind of a similar experience to me where I grew up kind of curious about space and what's outside of this planet. Are there aliens? And asking questions like that drove my fascination. And you mentioned a really good point that many young students, I feel like, have a curiosity, an innate curiosity for space, which sometimes, and over time, gets repressed because of many reasons. But something that we need to continue fostering in students and continue growing that passion that they have when they're young. So I'm really glad that you stuck through with that spark you had.
Absolutely. I think it's so important for kids, all kids, right? Because there's so many opportunities in the space industry. I think a lot of people only think astronaut, right? Rocket scientist, but there's so many other needs. There's so many other ways to use the talents that you have, the gifts that you have, the experience that you have in order to make it a societal thing, right? And again, not just for what we do to go out into space, but what we do as we learn that to bring back here on Earth, right? Sort of a systemic thing. So I think that's just crucial for what we do.
Yes, yeah, I definitely agree. I love to think of space as its own little world where any job you would need in the real world on Earth, you would need just itself in the space industry, whether it be an artist, a communicator, journalist, policymaker, advocate. We need everyone.
Absolutely, Gitika. You are so dead on. And look, I have a slide that I took to my young, well, I guess all students and also young people. One of them is who's on the deck of the Enterprise, right? It's not just Kirk and Spock, right? It's not just Bones. You've got everybody, and I do mean all the Star Trek series. So you've got counselors, you've got people who are doing nutrition, you have people who are farmers, you have people who are, the bar owner, you have musicians, just like the astronauts on the International Space Station wake up to a soundtrack every day. I don't know about you, but I see no reason to go into space without music. Why go? Right? Or
I
without
agree. I
fun.
agree.
Why go?
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely. And in this journey of yours, from what sparked your passion to getting involved with NASA and having a very successful career there. Where in this process did you get involved with the Hines Family Foundation, and what is your role within the foundation?
So I've known John Hines for quite some time from the moment I've been in awe of him and his work with small sats. And at the time, we were doing Tech Ed Sat, I believe, this was the first time that we actually worked together on something continuously. And it was trying to get the agreement in place in order to have that actually happen. I loved John's fire and dedication. I loved his commitment to making sure this was done well. And more importantly, his amazing drive to make sure the next generation was with him every step of the way, for what was going to happen. So just sort of being in the background and watching John, and then eventually, of course, he left from NASA. He started the Hines Family Foundation, and I've just kind of been, peeking over the fence at him, going along, just kind of looking at the work he does. And whenever I could do something to help to support him, I would. So now that I've retired from NASA, one of the first people to call me was John Hines. He said, so, are you bored yet? And I'm like, no, I'm not bored. I'm moving cross country, but whatever you need, I'll do, because I am so dedicated to the work that he's doing. And I believe in it so much that I'm happy to do anything I can to help. So right now, I'm helping with some of the strategic thinking. I'm helping with the partnerships that we need in order to get this going. I'm helping with some of the logistics of what we need to do. For instance, World Space Day is coming up. And because I am here right now in the Atlanta area, anything I can do boots on the ground to support and help him, I'm here to do.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm so glad that you both were able to work together towards your common goal, and you met Mr. Hines with this common passion of yours. I think that's absolutely incredible. And more specifically on the Hines Family Foundation, what are your thoughts on the Hines Family Foundation's logo and theme, which is from STEM to ESTEEM, space motivated learning and training to enable the 21st century workforce? What are your thoughts on this logo and theme?
I am a huge proponent of everything about that, and particularly, the symbol is a tree, and I don't know what it is. I'm a girl who loves trees. Let's just say that I have a that's a tree.
Oh,
It's
wow.
just a symbol for family and foundation for me. So that was the other thing. I had not even seen John's logo before I committed to doing what I'm doing now at World Space Day. When I saw it, it was like, of course, this is where I'm supposed to be. Of course, this is where I'm supposed to be, right? Because it is true, from STEM to STEAM to ESTEEM, right? You honestly can't have one without the other. A lot of people started with STEM, absolutely foundational. They kind of morphed to STEAM, right? Adding the arts into that, and then ESTEEM, right? As you're going even further, and making sure that it is an integrated, complete cycle, right, of what we're doing. Again, one depends on the other. It's kind of like I think of John and some of the teaching methods that have started recently, probably in the last 10 years, where you would start with a class, and your English class relates to your science class, relates to your history class, that you have a topic and you look at it from all points of view. When I first started with NASA, I've been with the government 34 years, coming from Department of the Navy, PWC, which is Public Works Center at Pearl Harbor, and being a management analyst there, to come into NASA at the NASA Astrobiology Institute. One of the greatest things about astrobiology for me, I don't know how we're going to get off and thrive on the planet without it, because it's that interdisciplinary work, right? It's great that my engineer builds the rocket, awesome. But my scientist needs to tell me, so where's the rocket and why is it going there and what are we going to get? Somebody needs to let my engineer know that when they build a rocket and it lands, if it's on a planet that has the possibility for life, what does that landing gear look like so that I don't squish, whatever it is I'm landing on? How am I going to collect samples? And my sociologists are going to let me know, and what kind of life, and how do you interact? What's our responsibility, right, for that? Those kinds of things. So everything from focus groups on theology to focus groups on the types of geology that we have, the types of rock formation, what kind of drilling is needed, right? That interdisciplinary, and John absolutely has that on lock as far as what's needed.
Yeah, 100%. Space is so interdisciplinary. I think without, there's not just saying it's just rocket science, it's just math, it's just science. It's everything kind of combined together with a touch of art, with a touch of writing, a touch of law, a touch of science, a touch of engineering, everything that comes together to create the space industry. And more importantly, I feel like with the Hines Family Foundation, they're focused on skills and skill development in these very interdisciplinary subjects. So you're not preparing for, oh, I'm going to become a technician. It's more, let me learn the tools so I can apply this to any career that would have the skills that I would need for becoming a technician. So it's more of just kind of foreseeing, foreshadowing, oh, these, we might not even know the careers we're going to need in the next 15, 20 years, but I'm ready to take on anything that comes because I have those skills. So yes, I agree.
Oh, absolutely. And let me just be, it's so funny. I think I have people talk about what's your path? What was your path? What did you decide to do to get where you are? I had no path, Gitika. My path is the crookedest path in the world. I started in one career, I went to the other. And just like you're saying, everything I learned along the way led to me being prepared for the next step and the next step and the next step, right? I'd love to tell you I had some great big plan and some wonderful educational format that I, checked off the boxes. I don't know too many people who are able to do that exactly. And I don't want the next generation for our young men and women to think that's what has to happen for them in order to be successful in the space career or any career, right? So I think it's important to know and do exactly what you're saying and what John is absolutely a proponent of. Learn the skill set, learn to be curious, learn how to do the research and how to do the findings and how to present that. Science communication, crucial, right? Space law, crucial. All of these things. And let me just say, as a musician, music, crucial. I just had to get that in there. But it's important to have the skill sets, the logical thinking, the practical thinking, the emotional thinking. How do you apply all of those skill sets so no matter where I drop you on what planet, in what year,
Yeah.
you're ready to go?
Exactly. 100%. I think those are excellent points that like embodies the purpose of the Hines Family Foundation, as well as many of the initiatives both NASA and many other nonprofits and organizations have in place. So that was perfect. And with kind of learning more about your thoughts on the Hines Family Foundation's theme, my last question for you is, where do you see the future of the Hines Family Foundation? What will it be doing in the future? And what support do you think the foundation requires from the industry to make its vision a reality?
Well, I tell you, Gitika, one of my dreams, and I don't think anybody at NASA has not heard me say this, I really want to start Starfleet Academy. I know it's something in a movie, but I feel like the Hines Family Foundation is going to be key to that. And it's sort of a base foundational on how we get that started. And again, after being in the Bay Area, and that's where it was located in San Francisco, just everything it feels like it's coming together, and HFF is absolutely a part of that. I think that what we need right now is just getting together, looking at what resources do we have, looking at where do we really want to go, right? People always say, oh my gosh, you're trying to do too much. Well, maybe, but if you can do that with people on board with you, we need to find the partnerships which are crucial for everything we do, especially in our next steps as a nation and as an Earth society in space. Partnershiping is key. No one person, no one organization, no one school, no foundation is going to do it alone. It's important for us to be able to find those partnerships that work, and more importantly, identify the ones that don't, and that's cool too. At least it's just as important to know and learn what you need as it is to find out what you don't need, right? The point is to
Mhm.
learn. The point is to learn, to grow, to keep moving. I think HFF is in good position now to do that, and will continue to do that. I think the industry, just to be honest, needs to pay attention. I think that they need to kind of, you know, walk the talk about what they think they need. Okay. And so there's been lots of conversation over the last 2 years about, oh, yes, we're all for everybody, inclusivity. Okay, show me. Show me that you're ready to do that. Show me that we're ready to go ahead. And let's be honest, it takes funding as well as resources that aren't necessarily tangible. Those intangible resources are crucial. The mentorship, the guidance, the sharing of information, crucial, crucial. I think anything that you need to survive in space are all the skill sets and all the things we need now to get to that point of even being in space and being in a society that thrives there. That we're not just there as because frankly,
Oh,
everything
yeah.
in space right now will kill us. What do we need to do, right? We need to be able, and we can't do that alone.
Yeah, I think those are perfect words to really, wrap up and conclude this interview because you mentioned, the Hines Family Foundation is in a place where it's ready to collaborate, ready to mingle with other nonprofits and organizations and companies that have similar visions in their path. And to be able to enable this diverse workforce, we all hope to see one day. It starts with tiny steps and collaborations between like-minded individuals who think in the direction that we need to progress forward. So I think definitely the first part that you were mentioning of partnerships, alliances, working together towards a common goal, and also getting support from the industry in terms of funding and recognizing these organizations that are doing so much for the next generation is crucial. So thank you so much, Ms. Bradford. It was wonderful learning not only about your journey, how you got involved with the Hines Family Foundation, but also some of your thoughts on the future of the Hines Family Foundation. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Gitika. I'm really looking forward to hearing more from you as well. Thank you so much for all you're doing.
Thank you.